Dr. Vikki Petersen here. I wanted to share with you today a couple of places where gluten is still sneaking into our diet that maybe you're not aware of. We're pretty much okay with our labeling laws and a lot of ways that gluten used to sneak into our diet. It's much better, at least when you're buying foods. We still have things such as soy sauce, where perhaps you're going to an ethnic restaurant and you think, what could soy sauce have anything to do with gluten, and only to find out that traditional soy sauce is made with wheat. And so things like that you definitely have to learn. You can definitely visit our website for a nice list of things that contain gluten, things that are truly safe. But we as a family stumbled across something this past weekend that I really hadn't encountered. So here it is, I wanted to share it with you. And that was dates, so the fruit dates. As you know, they're very, very, very sweet, very sticky if you've ever tried to cut a fresh date. So what happens if you go to like a Whole Foods or something like that, where they sell date pieces, so the dried dates in little pieces, and if you look in their little bins that give ingredients, you'll see that with date pieces there is some white stuff around them, and it's usually oat flour. And as we know, oats are not a glutinous grain, but oats are very much contaminated with gluten, just because of the fact that oat fields tend to be next to wheat fields. The truck that brings the oats to the granary is the truck that yesterday carried the wheat. So there's a lot of cross-contamination. So unless oats are designated gluten-free, which companies do offer, but unless that you see that designation, you can just almost put oats in that gluten category because of cross-contamination. So that's the issue. It is cross-contamination. It's not the poor oat itself, but the way we treat it and manufacture it, there is that cross-contamination present. So date pieces, as I said, very sticky, so in order to not gum up the machinery that's cutting up those dates, they tend to throw oat flour on top of the date, and that's that white stuff that you see on the outside. So that's all fine if you're going to a market and buying it yourself. As long as you're a good ingredient reader, you'll see that and be okay. But what happened to my son this past weekend, he was on a long road trip and actually stopped at a gas station because he needed gas, but he was also hungry. And we now have a new family rule, which is never buy anything to eat at a gas station. But anyway, he was trying to be good, got some trail mix, and this trail mix ended up having dates in it. And he is a good ingredient reader. He's certainly been gluten-free for most of his life, and he is an adult now. So he said he read the ingredients, but he had a telltale digestive response, let's put it that way, just to keep it delicate, and it is very telltale for him. A lot of us, when we stumble across gluten, have a telltale response that our body does, and he is no different. So because he was coming home for the weekend, he was driving up from Los Angeles, and when he had his telltale response, we discussed, where did you get the gluten? And he had absolutely no idea. And then said, do dates have gluten? So of course the date fruit does not. It's a fruit. It should be fine. But once again, it's the way they process it. So this was trail mix. It seemed like it was okay. It was not on the label, to the best of his knowledge, that these dates had gluten, or at least had oat flour. So that was not one of the ingredients. So it certainly made me think of all of you and the fact that we really want to make sure that we're not contaminating ourselves with gluten unwittingly. So once again, if you're buying dates or you're getting the fresh dates, it's fine. But if you're buying something with dates in it, even if someone made a nice gluten-free date bar, but if they used pieces of dates that they purchased somewhere and they thought oats were fine, there you go. So there's a few ways that this contamination could occur, and that's definitely one of them. So I just wanted you to be aware. The other thing that I have talked about before, but as long as we have a moment talking about sneaky entrances of gluten, is the chips that are made with malt vinegar. And I did check a company that actually does offer gluten-free products, but they're vinegar and salt chips. These were potato chips made from malt vinegar. Did not say that they had gluten in them. That was not on the ingredient list. The ingredient list simply said malt vinegar. And so if you didn't know that malt vinegar is not distilled the way most vinegars can be, and because it's made from a glutinous grain barley, you are getting contaminated with barley. So there's the heads up on a couple of more little places that gluten could be sneaking in despite being a good label reader. So the dates and the vinegar, specifically the malt vinegar. All right, I hope that was helpful. Please do let me know your questions and things that you want me to speak about, because I'm here for you. And until next time, I wish you very good health.